Alright, welcome back to Ox Tools. I'm Tom. Today I want to talk about, took a little trip to the flea market with my wife and picked up some interesting bits, and also met somebody there that I haven't seen in probably 30 years. Just a weird coincidence, and it's one of those things, you know, metal workers attract metal workers, so I'll talk a little bit about that. But I was going to show you some of the things that I picked up and some of the interest in them, so which you guys might get a kick out of. So we'll go through the easy stuff first. The guy had a pile of big hose clamps, and a lot of times when you go to the hardware store, they don't have the bigger ones, and you know, they got them up to 2-inch or something like that, or if you're lucky up to, you know, dryer hose size, something like that. But a lot of times you don't see these larger ones. So that's maybe, what is that? What number is that one? It's like, it's an 8-inch. Okay, that's pretty good size. And then there's a couple bigger ones in here. Anyway, I bought the whole lot for $4. Okay, so that's a pretty good deal. So I'll just throw those in the hose clamp bin over there. They're nice for squeezing cylinders and when you're welding them up. Anyway, big hose clamps come in handy for stuff. So I'm going to set those aside over here. Then went down a little farther, and the guy had a bunch of just loose stuff in boxes, and something caught my eye. I don't remember what it was. Oh, it was this gauge here, DC volt gauge. Anyway, it's kind of cool. It's kind of old school. It's on a crummy bracket. It just caught my attention. I like that kind of stuff, kind of shop decoration, you know. And so I'll pull it out of there and clean it. Oh, okay, the terminals are loose. I have no idea if it works or not. I don't really care. It's $1, okay, so pretty low bar to jump over for something kind of cool like that. So okay, so it's a Weston, which is kind of a well-known electronic instrument company. They used to make voltmeters, stuff like that. Don't know if they're still around. It's actually a good question. Yeah, I think they're still around, but not positive. Get that up there. Okay, that's cool. So I'll get rid of the junk there. Now I got a gauge. Maybe I'll hang it up on the wall or something like that, or I don't know. It's 0 to 30 volts DC. So not, you know, it's car stuff, car, airplane. I don't know. Okay, kind of neat. I like it. So that same guy had some key seat cutters buried down in a box down there, and these are Kios, and they're unused. You know, and you guys are machinists, right? You buy this stuff. They don't give this away. Now this one's a little bit beat up here, but it's not bad. And it's a 406. And the 406 refers to the width of the blade, or the width of the key seat cutter, and the diameter. That looks like, I don't know, 332 and 5/8 diameter, something like that. And this is a Kio 606. So it's the same diameter, but it's a thicker blade. So I think the 6 is the number of 16ths of the width, or something like that. I don't quite remember how they measure them. Anyway, these are kind of handy for little things. And then here's a bigger one. Oh yeah, it's another 606, looks like. Yeah, Kio. And it's not bad. You know, I have a few of these, and I use them for cutting stuff off sometimes, or you need a groove inside of a bore or something like that for who knows what. Anyway, $1. Okay, I mean, come on. It's not even, you know, it's not much to throw away, or not much to give away for something like that. So a little while later, another guy place is loaded. This is the flea market here in Concord, California, and it's at a little drive-in theater, and I've been going there for years and picked up a bunch of stuff and over the years. Here's a kind of a neat piece here. So it caught my attention because first it's metal, so that catches my eye. But what caught my attention is it's a tapered hex, okay? And if you've ever tried to get out a socket head cap screw that's jammed and the head's been cammed out and it's the head's kind of stripped, well, what I've done with Allen wrenches is you grind a taper on them like this, and you can actually drive them into what's left of that socket and get another bite on them. And then the other end is similar. It's a tapered square. So it feels hard to me, if I had to make this, it'd take me a few minutes or whatever. But for $1 or whatever I paid for that, certainly worth picking up and throwing in the punch drawer with all the other ones that look like that. So kind of a neat piece there. And then I think that same guy had this little plumb bob here. And this doesn't look like a commercial plumb bob to me. It might be, I don't know. There's no name on it that I can see. But I've got some apprentices at work right now, technician apprentices. And we have a little toolmaker class that we're doing on Thursday nights. And I thought this might be a good little project for them. So I just got this to remind me that might be kind of a neat project for them, is to make a brass plumb bob or something like that. It's kind of good because it's good general lathe practice. You got some radiuses and some reliefs, some knurling, two-directional turning, which is always kind of interesting, especially if you switch tools. There's a taper, some hole drilling, stuff like that. It's a simple project, but kind of neat because it doesn't take you a month to make it, and you get something out of the end and that you can actually use. So I didn't particularly fall in love with that design, but it's not bad. I've seen a lot worse, put it that way. Okay. So anyway, that's just kind of a reminder that I might introduce that project as a lathe for lathe practice. And I don't remember if this came with one of these same guys or not. I needed a little. I actually lucked out this trip. A couple of things that I needed, I just found and picked up for like chicken feed here. It's a little 5/16 wide, a 1/4 inch wide cold chisel. All these years, and I don't have one this narrow. I had a 5/16 and a 3/8 and a 1/2 inch and everything bigger than this, but I didn't have a little one like that. And I don't even remember what I needed it for. All I remembered was I didn't have it when I needed it. So it's stuck on my mental hard drive, and so I had it on my mental list to get one. So I found one. It's a Craftsman. It's okay. Looks like it's barely been used, so it's still in good shape. So I'm pretty happy about that. And then whenever I see square easy outs, this is a Hansen here. This is square type, it's tapered square type easy out, hollow ground so that it has an edge, so that it produces a sharp edge here. I've had really good luck with these removing broken bolts. I don't like the reverse spiral ones. I've never had very good luck with those. I tried them a few times, and then when I discovered the square ones, I really found that those work the best for me. So whenever I see them, I buy them because they get chewed up, driving them into hardened screws and stuff like that, so they kind of get messed up. And so you see them for $0.25 or $1 or whatever, I just throw them in the little pile, and I got a drawer full of them that I use for getting busted screws out, which hopefully you get better at, but you never know. Somebody always might bring in something that you have to fix. the So the next thing was, in one of the another video we were talking about caulking tools, and that's caulking like caulking gun, so caulking tools are kind of like chisels, but they're not really chisels. This has a definite cutting edge on it here. This guy here is more rounded. And what they were used for, just to kind of remind people, or people that hadn't seen the other video, is they used to take oakum and tarred rope and drive it into the gaps in the planks on ships to seal them up. So it would tighten those joints up and pack something in there that was waterproof, and jam it down in there and make everything nice and tight and watertight. In sheet metal, we use them for working in somewhere where you have bad access. You can create ridges or the starts of bends with them in inaccessible places, kind of. So they're kind of handy. I got a bunch of different flavors of them, and so I'm always looking for ones that are caulking tools that have different widths. This one's, what is that? 1 5/8 across the nose of it, and it's got a name on it. Somebody, or a company name, I should say. What is that? THG. The heck is that? I don't know. I can't quite read it, but some company thought it was, a good enough tool that they were going to put their name on it. So I don't really care what the brand is. It looks pretty good. Hard steel. Doesn't look like it's used too much, and so I'll clean it up a little bit and put it in the drawer with the other ones, and you have it. So. That same guy, I needed a 1/2-inch brass pipe plug for another job that I'm going to do pretty soon on the lathe. I need to make a new oil spout for the apron. That company, in their infinite wisdom, the oil filling hole for the apron is just flat against the apron, and you got to have a funnel with a bend in it or whatever to fill it, and it's a real pain in the neck. And so I'm going to make a little offset piece so that it makes it easier to fill, and I needed a 1/2-inch pipe plug, and this is like brand new, never been used, so saved me a trip to the hardware store. And that was that one. Well, actually, this is actually more funny than a tool. This guy had this piece here, and I'm going to show you the backside first. So it's a piece of brass. What is this? Brass or copper? Yeah, it's brass. And it's only about 1/4 of an inch thick, right? Well, what caught my attention, and I thought it was kind of funny, was what was on the other side here. I'll hold that up, and you get an idea of what this guy had in mind. See, it's only 1/4 of an inch thick. That's a pair of brass knuckles. So I think he was going to make a pair of brass knuckles, and somebody had some that he borrowed. I don't know. Did he borrow them? Hey, can I borrow your brass knuckles? And then he put them on here, and then he spray painted over the top, and it left a little outline. Well, I'm not going to make any brass knuckles, but I just thought that was funny as heck right there. So I'm just going to put that on my little decoration wall there. This is kind of a joke piece. But yeah, I cracked up when I saw that. It's like, I immediately knew what that was. And so if you're going to make some brass knuckles, don't make them 1/4 inch thick, okay? They're not going to work, all right? You need something thicker. Anyway, I just thought that was funny, and because when I was in high school, metal shop, when I was a young kid, everybody wanted to make some brass knuckles, but the teacher was all over that. He didn't let you get anywhere near that. Anyway, that's pretty funny, so I got a kick out of it. All right, next thing here is I got a crescent wrench fetish. I'll admit it. This is actually a really nice one here. It's an Armstrong, and I looked it over, and it's got a little bit of rust on it, but it's just light rust. But more importantly, I really looked at the jaws closely, and there's no marks in the jaws. I don't think this thing really saw much use. Somebody threw it in a drawer, and they never used it. So it doesn't really have any signs of wear on it. It's a little bit stuck right now, although not bad. Well, take that back. The knurling on the little thumb wheel is real sharp and crisp. You can feel it with your hand, So to me, that means it, it hasn't been used a million times. So I don't have any. So I'll squirt some penetrating oil on that and let it sit around for a little while, and then clean it up. It's a little 8-inch one. Edges are crisp on it, and it looks like it's. You know what? I'm gonna spray it now because if you look at this, it looks like it's one of these real wide opening ones here. You see how far this is sticking out of the back, and that's the leg of the moving jaw. So what I'm thinking is this thing is like some humongous opening one. That caught my attention too. So let me get some stuff and I'll sprayed a little bit of my favorite WD-40 on there, just to kind of get in there and maybe start loosening some of that stuff. Oh, yeah. There it goes. That wasn't too bad. Okay, well, hey, that's not bad. Look at that. So, didn't take much to resurrect that. All right, so that's an 8-inch, 200 millimeter Armstrong adjustable wrench, and it opens up inch and what is that? Inch and I don't know, 5/32, something like that. So yeah, let's see if it goes anymore. Okay, inch and 3/16. Yeah, so that's not bad. That's pretty good. Look at that. Look, it works great now. So I don't know. It's just like stuck or something, but it popped right loose. So anyway, $1. Like I said, I can't pass up a crescent wrench for some reason. I got like a dozen of them. And I'd buy more. It's retarded. Okay, so next up, this little guy here, and I think I know what this is, but I'm not going to use it for that. So when I see stuff like this, I think sheet metal. Reaching into some corner that you can't get at, and maybe it's a dolly and you want to shape some metal, and it's got a nice tapered thing on it. If you had to make this darn thing, it'd be a pain in the neck. What I think it's for is for doing concrete, or brick, or some kind of masonry thing where you have some grout, or in fact, it's got some cement on it or something here that. Kind of leftovers, where you have the soft mortar or whatever, and then you want to like make a nice radius in it to finish the job, and so it's got different sizes on it depending on how close your bricks are, or your concrete block or whatever. Anyway, for $1, I'll keep it around, and it's some kind of weird pry bar, or maybe a punch that I can reach into some area, offset like that. I don't know. To me, it's kind of like opportunity cost. I got a little bit of space, so I can put that away and pull it out when I got some weird job. Never know what you're gonna get into, so it's kind of nice. And that's a Dasco brand. Dasco, yeah. I don't know anything about Dasco. So let's see what's next. Oh yeah, this thing. This is pretty cool. This is like total old school here. It's one of these, like your granddad's drill, right? But this has this wonderful, beautiful cast, double curved cast bevel gear on it. This is back in the days. This is Miller's Falls, Yeah, Miller's Falls number 2. Hand drill here, and it's real smooth. It's real nice. I'll clean it a little bit and put a little lube on it. It'll be even better. But the wheel caught my eye. I like those kind of wheels, those antique wheels. The chuck seems to be pretty good, and it's got a wood handle. And then this caught my attention too. The handle opens up, and it even has one tool in it. It's one of these old style kind of straight flute spade bit things that you used to see on Stanley pump drills and things like that. Just one, and that lives in the handle in there. Look at that, wood threads. I mean, this is a pretty cool thing, and it's kind of intact. It's got a nice patina on it, and it's not too messed up. And so what I wanted one of these for, what does he want one of those for? Sometimes you got to straighten wire, things like that. So what I wanted to do was just kind of leave it set up with a little eye in here, so that I can just grab it, and then when you straighten wire, you fix one end and put the other end in an eye bolt in here, pull some tension on it, and then turn it a little bit, and it yields the wire slightly, and it just makes it straight as an arrow. So if you ever have to, for example, take MIG welding wire and you want to TIG weld with it, but that curve bothers you when you're welding, you can take a length of that and clamp one end in the vise, clamp one end in a little drill like this, or a cordless drill, it doesn't really matter, and tug on it, put some pressure on it, and then spin it or turn it a little bit, and that wire will just be straight as an arrow. And then you can cut it up and make nice little welding filler rods that are straight. I just like the look of this too, and I was doing a drilling job a while back, and I really didn't want to use a power tool, and I can't remember what the job was, to tell you the truth, but all I know is I really didn't want to slip with a powered tool, so I was going really slow and being real careful with it. Probably one of these antiques that I fixed for my neighbor, and I was thinking, man, it'd be really nice to have one of those little hand drills where you could just kind of just creak along, really slow, and you got a really good sense of feel. See, that was $10. That was my big. Oh, actually, no, this wasn't the most expensive thing I bought. $10 for that, which I think is a pretty fair price. It's intact, and that's a nice tool. I kind of like that. Handle still turns. It's even got this original weird like enamel on the wood, And anyway, so we'll clean that up, and that'll be kind of a neat little tool there. So yeah. All right. So moving on. So another guy. There's a little box sitting out front of his little booth there, and he must have had 25 of these little thermometers here, and so. That's interesting. I'm kind of reading different. Anyway, these are these little thermometers here. They sort of look like meat thermometers, but these are lower temperature here. This goes, I suppose. Well, I don't know if you can put that in the oven. I don't know. NSF Taylor thermometer. These go from 0 to 220 degrees. So I think they use them for monitoring refrigerators or food containers or something like that. These guys have been around for years. It's got a little clip on it, so you can clip it on. And so, yeah, I guess I got 65. Yeah, okay, that's about the same. This one doesn't seem to be. I should have looked at this a little closer here. This one might have a problem here. I'll leave them laying around and I'll compare them for a while. So yeah, you get 3 thermometers that are reading slightly different. So which one do you trust, right? So it's the old seafaring thing, as they say, never go on an ocean trip with 2 chronometers to keep track of time. Either have 1 or 3, because if you have 2, you don't know which one to trust. So the third The third tells you which one to trust, or maybe not. And if you have one, you got no choice but to trust one. Well, I've got three. That's not why I bought three of these, by the way. So I got three thermometers here. They're all reading just slightly different. So I'll leave them sitting around and I'll compare them for a little while and see which one I'm going to trust. I don't know. I have one of these in our refrigerator, and it's kind of nice. You can look in there and tell everything's working properly, and that you're maintaining a temperature. And I just leave it in there. It's in there all the time. I just peek at it every once in a while, or you move something and it's there and you see it. Anyway, these are $1 a piece. Okay, so I mean, I don't really need 3 thermometers, but at $1 a piece, it's like, okay, I'll get them. So you give them away to somebody that needs one, or put them around the shop or whatever, or stick them in the vent hole of a machine or something like that, and maybe keep an eye on things. I don't know. Anyway, $1 a piece. That's pretty good. So set those over here. So the last, that's about it. I got one more item left, and but it's really where the story is for this trip to the flea market. I'd seen this guy out there before, and he's got some really nice tools, and my kind of tools, I suppose, kind of sheet metal stuff, some machinist stuff, a little bit of everything, and Whitney hand punches, things like that. Anyway, he caught my attention before. I didn't like his prices. His stuff is priced well. It's if you need one, it's a good price, but it's not the rock bottom flea market type pricing that you get so excited about. $10 or $1 a piece for thermometers, right? Where you really I scored, right? So, but if you needed something, he's it's a fair price, right? So if you needed an 8-inch crescent wrench, right, and you wanted a good quality one, you could go to this guy and get one, and he'd probably charge you $8 or $10 for that. But if you went and bought a brand new, that's $15 or $20, right? Something like that. So anyway, he had a box full of sheet metal snips. And I was looking at the sheet metal snips, and anyway, I pulled a pair out, and I'll show them to you here. I pulled a pair out, and they're big guys. Okay, you see how long these are here. You can see that. So these are they're 14-inch overall. Okay, but what's interesting about them is they're gill bows. Okay. See that? So these are gill bows, and they're made in England. They have a slight offset to them, which is always a good feature with, there you can see it better, sheet metal snips. They got these big, heavy front end jaws to them. They feel pretty good. Looks like they've been wire brushed a little bit and cleaned up. And you don't see gill bows very often, and because they're kind of an odd brand, being from England. Here we see Wiss and who's the other guys? Wiss is mainly the ones you see over here in the U.S. Trying to think of those ones that are made out of aluminum but with steel jaws. Anyway, I can't think of the name of them. But these gill bows they're made in England, and it's a high quality tool. And where I learned about them is a guy that I worked with many years ago and did my sheet metal apprenticeship with. He had some gill bows, and he said, "Oh, these gill bows, they're just wonderful, right?" And he let me use them a few times, and they were pretty good. I ended up finding something what I thought was better, but he swore by his gill bows, and he had I don't know if he had a couple pairs of those or what. I don't remember now. Anyway, this guy saw me looking at these, and oh yeah, look at that. It's got a British patent, an Australian patent number, and a New Zealand patent number. Well, the guy I worked with was from New Zealand, and so they're basically immigrants from Australia that are immigrants from England. So they all they have that kind of English accent, but it's not quite an English accent. Anyway, he had these Gilbos, and he swore by them, and I used them. And this guy comes up, that I'm looking at the tool, and he kind of comments, or I said something. I said, "Geez, you don't see Gilbos very often." And he says, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah, you don't see Gilbos very often." He says, "I had a boss many years ago, a New Zealander that had some Gilbos." And I went, "Oh my God!" I said, "Really?" And because I had a boss from New Zealand that had some Gilbo snips, right? And I said, "Geez," I said, "Did you work in San Francisco, in a sheet metal shop in San Francisco?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I said, I mentioned the name Trayer Engineering. That's where this place was. And he says, "Yeah." And I said, "Holy cow!" I didn't say "holy cow," but something along those lines. And I said, "What's your name?" He said, "Steve." And I go, "Steve." And then I said his last name, and he's like, "Oh my God!" And okay, and then I said my name, and he's like, he even remembered my nickname, and so it was just like we hadn't left. I haven't seen this guy in 30 years. I didn't recognize him. He didn't recognize me. But then I started looking at him, and after we were talking a little bit, and I totally recognized him, right? So we were yapping away for a while there, and all because of a pair of snips, and an oddball pair of snips. So what are the damn chances of that? So that just kind of confirms my theory that the metalworking community is kind of is small, right? And you will trip. I have a similar interest to him, so you will cross paths with people that all the time in this industry. And because they're going to the same auctions, they're going to the same tool shows, they're interested in the same stuff, right? And I've had this happen before. And anyway, I thought it was just amazing, and I haven't seen this guy in a long time, so we chatted for a while, and it's funny because I've been out there before, and I walked by his booth, and I pawed some of his wares, and the prices. I have most of that stuff anyway, so I didn't really need it. And I have a lot of tools, and so now what I look for is variations. So I might see a nice pair of pliers, and maybe the tips are curved in a certain way that I don't have a pair like that. Sure, I got like 10 pairs of needle nose pliers, but I don't have any that have a net 120 degree bend in them or something, whatever it is, right? So some variation on a normal tool. Well, as it turns out, I don't have any Gilbo snips, and so that's why these caught my eye. And he had a price on them, $15, which is actually a pretty screaming price for. These are forged, and these are really nice. And I'm going to get a piece of sheet metal here in a minute. I didn't test them when I was there, but they look pretty good. And when you're looking at snips, what you want to look for, and you won't be able to see this in the video, but if you have a pair of snips at home, take a look at the tips, and this point right here where the tips cross over, what you want to see there is you don't want to see a gap like that. You don't want to see a little tiny open gap, which means they've been sharpened a bunch of times. So as you sharpen them, they get sharpened back, and then eventually they open up a little fish mouth like that, and because they've been sharpened back so many times. So, and yes, you're supposed to sharpen your snips every once in a while if you use them a lot. And if you have a pair that are having trouble, then look at the geometry of the cutting edge and tune them up a little bit, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. So sheet metal men sharpen their snips. Probably not so much anymore. They probably just throw them away and get another pair. But in the old days when this was, I don't know, maybe a week's wages, I'm just kind of guessing. There was a time when the wages were low, but the tools were expensive relative to it. It's kind of the other way now. So people really took care of their stuff and protected it and sharpened it. And now labor is so expensive compared to the tools that that's the most expensive component to any job typically. And so if you got to take a nice tool like this and cut it up and use it for a job, then that's the way to do it. If it saves labor, and so that wasn't always the case. The labor was cheap, so they gave you one of these to cut keyways, right? They said, hey, labor's cheap and key seat cutters are expensive, sonny boy. Get in there with that chisel and cut that keyway, right? And it's like, okay, boss, tink, 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 a day later you got a nice keyway, right? So, but now, labor's expensive, so it's like, if it takes 3 of these to make your keyway, but you do it in a third of the time or a half the time, something like that, then, good job, right? So, I don't know if that's good or bad. I modify tools all the time to get a job done, and partly because of that is because they're not as expensive relative to what's the labor that's going into it. So anyway, back to the tips here. So what you do is you look for that there's a little bit of crossover still, that the moving blade still goes past the stationary blade. And so what that means is there's a little bit of room left to sharpen them. And then you're going to look at the tips and make sure that whoever had them before, and if they were sharpening them, wasn't doing a hamburger job, or bozo in the sharpening job. So, I'm going to grab a piece of sheet. All right, so I got some couple different pieces of sheet metal here, and so what is it? That's about 40 thousandths aluminum there, something like that. Yeah, that works fine. So I'm feeling the edge here. It's got a little burr on it. It's a clean cut. Stand up a little bit here. These long handles are really nice. They've got plenty of leverage. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I like that. So that was a pretty easy test there, 40,000 aluminum. This looks like about 20 gauge galvanized steel here. Let's try that. Oh yeah, it's just marching through those. Let's try a little curve here. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm liking these. Yeah, pretty good. See the burr. Oh yeah, that's nice on steel. And then here's some, this is 27 thousandths thick copper. And I'll cut a little bit off the end here. Not bad, not much of a burr. Yeah, okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Actually, I'm going to go look for something a little thicker to try these on and see what they'll do. So, ooh, yeah. Kind of soft, but here's some heavier copper. This looks like about a 1/16 here. Grab some calipers and I'll measure it. Yeah, so this is 63 thousandths copper here. Let's give this a little go here and see what happens. Oh yeah. Now, obviously it's more pressure, but, you notice the curl's coming off of the bottom, right? Which is kind of not typical. Yeah, waltzed right through that. Yeah, kind of, it's definitely heavier stuff. So another trick that I use, let's see, rotate this over a little bit, is stuff like this, is I actually will put these in the vise like that, and then use them like a kind of like a Beverly shear, right? But you know, portable, so that you're not trying to concentrate so much on holding the things, and you can just follow your line. So that's another trick that I use. I put them in the vise. If I'm really lazy, I'll put a piece of tubing on here too to give me a little more leverage. So anyway, that's about it for my little tool finds there, and I thought I'd share that with you guys. And so if you see some Gilbo snips, take a look at them. They're pretty good. Yeah, these are 14-inch, made in England. So, and then I got the other stuff here. Anyway, that's all I have right now, and that's it for Ox Tools for today. And I'll see you soon. And remember, nothing too strong ever broke, right? All right, see you later.